Bob Chapek's 3 pillars of success for the Walt Disney Company. We're going to talk about all 3 and analyze it up next. Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of Orange Grove 55. So in this video, we're going to talk about the 3 pillars of success that Bob Chapek sent out to Walt Disney Company cast members recently. And I got to say, it's pretty interesting stuff. So let me go ahead and share my screen and we'll dive into it. All right. So it says here, this is courtesy, by the way, of wdwnt.com. Link down below. CEO Bob Chapek establishes his 3 pillars of success for the Walt Disney Company in the next century. It says here that Chapek has outlined his goals for the next century of the Walt Disney Company in a new memo to cast members. He pointed to 3 specific pillars: storytelling excellence, innovation, and relentless focus on the audience. So let's go over each pillar and kind of talk about this. This is very interesting stuff, you guys. Very interesting. Okay, so the first pillar is storytelling excellence. And it says here, what makes Disney so unique is that the stories we tell mean something to people. They inspire, give hope, bring us together, illuminate the world around us, and create memories. That is Disney magic. And we must continue to set the creative bar higher and higher. To that end, and in addition to all my other creative meetings, I'm establishing a new standing monthly meeting with our senior creative leaders to discuss the opportunities we face as a storytelling enterprise. This will encourage collaboration, sharing of best practices, and stimulate cross-studio ideation. Okay, this is actually really, really cool. Okay, this is really, really cool. And I really like, the thing that really stood out to me was this stimulating the cross studio ideation. You know, this whole like kind of cooperation between the various studios. I think that's a fantastic thing to kind of encourage and kind of pollinate, right? It's kind of like this cross pollination kind of thing. And you know, what comes to mind is kind of like, you know, Kevin Feige maybe having some input on what Star Wars does. Maybe Star Wars has some input on what Walt Disney Animation does, and they all kind of like you know, bat around ideas, and they cross pollinate and kind of discuss this creative process together. And I think that's very, very healthy. When you're dealing with a creative entity like the Walt Disney Company, you want to have a meeting of the minds with all these creatives. And I think something like this encourages just more creativity. Look, a lot of times these studios, you know, they get in like a bubble, right? And what this will do is open that up a little bit, right? Maybe something that Lucasfilm didn't realize on their own. Maybe Marvel can kind of bring that freshness to that table. Maybe something that Disney Animation didn't realize. Maybe Lucasfilm can sort of bring that to the table for Disney Animation. So this is like this collaboration process, which I think will only breed more and more creativity and much better product going forward. I absolutely love this. Okay. I absolutely love this. So number 1, again, just to reiterate, is storytelling excellence. Definitely a pillar of success for the Walt Disney Company, no doubt. Okay, so the second is innovation. Since Steamboat Willie, we have been the world's foremost innovative storytellers. That must continue as technology evolves, giving our creative teams new canvases like the metaverse on which to paint. We should be especially innovative as we seek to bring stories to life in new ways, particularly if they enhance what many call our, quote, franchise ecosystem, end quote, which is one of the things that sets us apart. Look, innovation, again, a great pillar, okay? Innovation has always been at the foundation of the Walt Disney Company. Look, they mentioned Steamboat Willie here. Walt Disney himself in the 1920s said, you know what? I want to make the first sound cartoon, right? And by the 1960s, he's like, I want to build a city of the future. It was like, it's incredible, like the journey he made between like the first sound cartoon and this ambition to create the city of tomorrow with Epcot, right? It was constantly this evolution of moving forward with technology and innovation. So what Chapek sets out here in the second pillar is really akin to what Walt Disney established with the Walt Disney Company, and just this constant hunger and thirst to do more, to innovate, to branch out new technologies and everything. I think it's really, really awesome. He mentions the metaverse. Wild stuff with the metaverse. Absolutely wild stuff with the metaverse. I'm very curious to see how Disney incorporates that into its IP and their franchises. Again, the second pillar, which he lays out here, innovation, is a hallmark of the Walt Disney Company. So again, fantastic stuff here. And the last and final pillar is a relentless focus on our audience. And it says here, we are a big company with many constituents and stakeholders, all of whom have a place in our decision making. But at the end of the day, our most important guide, our North Star, is the consumer. Right now, their behavior tells us and our industry that the way they want to experience entertainment is changing, and changing fast thanks to technology and the pandemic. We must evolve with our audience, not work against them. And so we will put them at the center of every decision we make. So here, this very much is relevant to the studio. And I made many, many videos on this, but basically what Chapek is saying here with the third pillar is that he's going to let the audience tell Disney how they want to consume their content. So if content is, doing very well on streaming, we'll get more streaming. If content does better in the theaters, we'll get more theatrical. Basically, it's up in the air. Everything is fluid. Okay. And this is what he was talking about with Shang-Chi and Eternals and Encanto, when he was saying that it was kind of like an experimental thing. Basically, this is what he's talking about, in that whatever the consumer prefers is where Disney will go. This is a good thing. This is a very, very good thing. A lot of times in Disney's past, they've sort of done things that run counter to what the consumer wants, right? And I think this is a good change of pace for them in terms of like trying to kind of zero in on the consumer and what they want. I think it's fantastic. I absolutely think it's fantastic. And this is look, studios have a lot of options right now, okay, on how to release their content. And Chapek is opening the floodgates here and saying, basically, we're going to let you, the consumer, decide how we distribute our content by how you spend your money, how you consume it. You know what I'm saying? That's a good approach. That's a fantastic approach. Look, I hear all this stuff, all this narrative about how Bob Chapek is like this fucking monster. And every time I hear stuff like this about his actual decisions and about his actual mindset, I kind of concur with him. I don't really know. I still to this day do not understand this whole demonizing of Bob Chapek. Look, he's not perfect. He's not my first choice. I get it. I understand. He's not charismatic. He's not sexy. He's not handsome. I get it. But at the end of the day, the decisions he's making, which are really ultimately the most important, aren't terrible. I don't agree with all of them, but what he's setting out here with these three pillars is exactly what I would want to hear from a Disney CEO. These are the three things that Disney should focus on. This is perfect. This is absolutely perfect. So number one, storytelling excellence, that cross-pollination between the studios. Fantastic. Love it. Second pillar is innovation. Since Disney came onto the scene almost 100 years ago, Disney has been all about innovation. That's a huge foundation for the company. They should continue that. Love it. Third pillar, relentless focus on our audience. They're going to focus on what you want. Your spending habits, how you consume content is going to drive what the company does going forward. And again, there's no downside to that. That's a fantastic approach to this. Love it. So these three pillars that he set out, I'm giving very high marks on. A plus. I think this is, if I were to write 3 pillars as to what I would want to see from the Walt Disney Company, they would look very similar to this. They would. They absolutely would. So this is fantastic news. I know a lot of people are probably going to jump in the comments and say, Chapek bad, Chapek horrible, Chapek evil, da 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 da. Sign the petition. I get it. I understand. You don't like Chapek. At the end of the day, though, I don't know how anyone can argue against what he's setting out here for the Walt Disney Company. I really don't. But what do you guys think? Comment down below. Love to hear from ya. Tell me what a schmuck I am. I don't care. Or tell me how I'm right, and tell me how you agree with me. That's cool too. Either way is fine. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, have a wonderful, wonderful